We are wrapping up our International Women's Week coverage with a focus on overseas Filipino workers. 60% of them are female. JP Ong is here to tell us more.
And this is one of the more important economic pillars for the Philippines and one of the most important sources of revenue that's driven actually by women. First, let's set the stage and talk to you about how many Filipinos actually work overseas. Now, the numbers vary, but according to official data from the Philippine Statistical Authority, they estimate about 1.8 million Filipinos are overseas foreign workers. Now, when you take into account Filipinos working overseas on dual nationalities, permanent residencies, and let's face it, also undocumented workers, some estimate that this could go to as high as 10 million Filipinos. Now, according to the Philippine Statistical Authority also, about 61% of these overseas foreign workers are actually women who work mostly in the service industry and also as domestic workers, either cleaning houses, staying indoors and cooking meals, or even looking after children. The economic impact on the Philippines is also tremendous. When you look at the numbers actually of remittances to the Philippines, we saw that in 2022, it grew to over 32.6 billion US dollars, growing 3.6% on a year-on-year basis. Now, when you take that into account and stack that up against the GDP or the Philippine economy, it comprises almost 10% of the Philippine economy, which means it's also a very important source of foreign reserves and foreign currencies that also helps the Bangko Sentral and other finance authorities in the Philippines protect the Philippine currency and the economy against possible external shocks and FX volatility. And a lot of this is being driven, again, by those 61% women who are being sent overseas. Just a few statistics. Some estimate that in Singapore, over 80,000 Singaporean domestic workers are actually Filipino, and in Hong Kong, it's even higher. Some put the conservative estimate about 200,000 domestic workers. But they also faced very big challenges in terms of exploitation and also being overworked, since they do live in domestic households. Some of them actually work around the clock with very little time to sleep. They're usually given only a half day of leave actually and rest. Usually towards the end of the weekend, and many of them send over 60% or even more of their salaries back home, repatriated to their families that they've been separated for numbers of years, in order to fund school tuitions, hospital fees, and even just retirement nest eggs, in the hope that once they return home, if they are able to return home, they can actually have a better life with a roof over their head and actually a more stable future for their family and their next generations. But a lot of issues and a lot of challenges facing them in the present day, especially in their day-to-day work, and also in terms of their security, both economically and also physically.